Hi guys, so I'm away just now and I'm not able to film a normal video, but I wanted to make a quick video today with some of my suggestions for books that I think would make great gifts, which I hope will be especially handy around Christmas time. Firstly, I would recommend anything which has a cover designed by Coralie Bickford-Smith. She's an incredible designer and you will have seen her work everywhere. She designs the gorgeous Penguin clothbound classics, as you can see here, mine are very well loved. She also designs the Penguin English Library books, and because it's a very well curated selection, you're guaranteed good quality novels. She's also written 2 books of her own, The Worm and the Bird and also The Fox and the Star. They're technically children's books, but they have such beautiful illustrations and touching stories that I think a lot of adults would definitely appreciate them. Next, I have to mention Philip Pullman's Book of Dust, which was just published a couple of months ago. I've talked about it at length, so I'm not going to bore you anymore, but I did want to mention the Waterstones exclusive edition, which might be more appealing if you're buying this book for an adult. Also, if you know a fan of the original His Dark Materials trilogy, I really love this 20th anniversary edition. I also recommend the Penguin Great Ideas books. They're short paperback books with gorgeous designs, with essays or stories by some of the world's most prominent minds, which I think makes them really thoughtful gifts if you know a topic that interests them. Similarly, earlier this year Penguin released a series of vintage minis, a collection of writing by famous authors on specific subjects, which I think are lovely presents as well. I know that as a book lover, I want to give books to everyone, but not everyone is as much of a reader as I am. I think a good plan is to buy them a book that has been the subject of a recent film or TV adaptation they might have seen. A couple of recommendations would be Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, which was made into a TV series this year and has been released in some gorgeous new covers recently. Also, Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood was also on Netflix, which I thought was a great programme, although I must admit to not having read the book yet, but if you know someone who's liked the show, then I'm sure they'd appreciate the book. Also, Jessie Burton's The Miniaturist is a fantastic book and has been adapted for the BBC and is being shown on Boxing Day this year, so I think this would make a lovely Christmas present. It's also been published with a TV tie-in cover if you're that way inclined. I want to do a little shout out for Haruki Murakami hardbacks. They just look lovely and he's one of my favourite authors. He's quite an unusual writer, so I'd only give them to someone who's a reader and quite open-minded, but I just want to spread the love for Murakami wherever I can. Other ones that I'd recommend because of their striking covers are wonderful historical fiction novels, The Watchmaker of Filigree Street and The Bedlam Stacks. On the theme of great historical fiction, another one that's great is The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry, which has a really pretty Waterstones exclusive cover which would make a lovely gift. I think Ali Smith's Winter would make a great gift for this time of year, though as those of you familiar with Ali Smith's writing will know, it's quite an unusual writing style, so maybe don't give it to someone who would never read in their own time. For the lover of libraries and reading, but whom you're not too sure what to buy, I'd recommend Murakami's The Strange Library, which has a lovely cover and illustrations, and I talk more about it in my Books About Reading video, which I'll link in the description. And for those who keep up with literary events, Kazuo Ishiguro, this year's winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature. He's an incredible author and I've made a video all about his books, again I'll link that in the description. All of them would make lovely gifts, but I would particularly recommend The Remains of the Day, which has just been published in a really attractive new edition, and also Never Let Me Go. Lastly, I have a couple of non-fiction suggestions. Firstly is one for introverts, Quiet by Susan Cain, which I talked more about in my non-fiction recommendations video. And lastly, on a note of empowerment, I'd recommend Mary Beard's Woman in Power for anyone interested in feminism or women throughout history. And the book only came out a few weeks ago, so they're not likely to have it yet. So those are all my recommendations. I'd love to know which books you're giving this Christmas, because I'm still on the lookout for suggestions myself. If I don't manage to post another video before Christmas, I hope you have a lovely time, whatever you're doing. See you soon!